Every person who has ever hurt you did it because you gave them permission. Not consciously, not willingly, but you gave it nonetheless because nobody taught you how to revoke it. Today that changes. I'm going to walk you through the exact Stoic framework for building emotional armor, not coldness, not indifference. True, unshakable psychological protection. Welcome to Dark Wisdom. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire in history while managing betrayal, loss, and enemies on every side. He was never cold, he was never cruel, but he was never broken. This video will show you how he did it, and how you can too. The Stoic method for emotional protection isn't a feeling, it's a practice. And by the end of this video, you'll have the complete framework. Part 1. The source of emotional pain. Why you actually get hurt. Here is the truth that will either offend you or free you. Other people cannot hurt you without your participation. This isn't victim blaming, it's neuroscience and Stoic philosophy aligned. Epictetus, who was a literal slave, beaten, owned, powerless in every external sense, wrote, "Men are disturbed not by the things which happen, but by the opinions about the things. The pain you feel from someone's words or actions is not caused by those words or actions. It is caused by your interpretation of what those words or actions mean about you." This is not a small distinction. This is the entire battlefield. Modern psychology calls this cognitive appraisal, the brain's process of assigning meaning to events. The same event appraised differently produces entirely different emotional outcomes. A dismissive comment from someone you admire is devastating. The same comment from a stranger means nothing. The words are identical. The appraisal changes everything. Key insight: you are not being hurt by reality. You are being hurt by your story about reality. Change the story, change the pain. Part 2. The Inner Citadel. Building your psychological fortress. Marcus Aurelius wrote about what philosopher Pierre Hadot later called the inner citadel, the fortress of the mind that no external force can breach without your permission. This wasn't a metaphor to him, it was a daily practice. The inner citadel has 3 walls. The first wall is awareness. You notice when something is attempting to penetrate your emotional state. You name it. This person's comment is attempting to make me feel small. The act of naming converts a subconscious reaction into a conscious choice. The second wall is interrogation. You ask the Stoic question, is this within my control? The other person's opinion of you is not within your control. Your response to that opinion is, you defend only what is yours to defend. The third wall is reappraisal. You deliberately reconstruct the meaning of the event, not to lie to yourself, but to find the most accurate, most useful interpretation. This person said something unkind. That tells me about their inner state, not mine. I choose what this means about me. Practice. When you feel emotional pain today, stop and identify which wall was breached. Was it awareness? Interrogation? Reappraisal? That's your training target. Part 3. The Contempt Filter. The most powerful Stoic psychological tool. Marcus Aurelius had a practice that sounds harsh until you understand it. He would deliberately minimize the status and glamour of anything that emotionally affected him. Modern psychology calls this deconstruction or deflation of perceived significance. He wrote, "How many a Fabricius, how many a Scipio, how many a Caesar have been turned to dust already?" When someone's opinion of you feels devastating, this tool asks, who exactly is this person? And what is the actual weight of their judgment? Not to disrespect them, but to accurately measure the significance you've assigned them. A comment from a coworker you barely know becomes destructive only when you've unconsciously elevated their opinion to the level of a verdict. The contempt filter, properly used, simply returns them to accurate size. Their judgment is one human's momentary perspective, nothing more. Seneca put it directly. How ridiculous and how strange to be surprised at anything which happens in life. When you see people's behavior as the predictable output of their psychology, their capacity to wound you collapses. You feel curiosity where you used to feel hurt. Part 4. The Expectation Reset. Why you keep getting hurt by the same things. Marcus Aurelius wrote one of the most psychologically sophisticated lines in the history of philosophy. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. This wasn't cynicism, it was expectation calibration. When your expectations of people are unrealistically high, reality is constantly disappointing. When your expectations are calibrated to the actual range of human behavior, you are surprised by kindness rather than crushed by imperfection. Most emotional pain comes from a gap between what we expected and what occurred. Stoicism closes that gap, not by expecting the worst, but by expecting the full spectrum of human behavior and choosing your response in advance. Before any significant interaction today, what is the full realistic range of how this could go? Plan your response to the difficult end of that range. You will not be caught off guard. Part 5. The permission revocation. How to become genuinely unhurtable. Epictetus said, if someone succeeds in provoking, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. This is the deepest layer of Stoic emotional protection and the most confronting. You are not a passive receiver of other people's emotional impact. Every time someone hurts you, a part of you is choosing to process that experience as injury. Not maliciously, but automatically. Habitually, without conscious examination. The permission revocation practice works like this. When you feel the beginning of hurt, you pause before it completes. You ask, do I grant this person authority over how I feel about myself? In most cases, the honest answer is no. You don't respect their judgment. You don't share their values. Their assessment of you carries no weight you haven't voluntarily assigned. Revoke the permission. Not in anger. Not in clarity. In clarity. Your assessment of me is yours to carry. It is not mine to absorb. Over time, this becomes automatic. You will still notice when people attempt to diminish you. But noticing is not being diminished. The Stoics distinguished clearly between the first involuntary movement, the initial sting, and the second movement, the choice to be wounded. You cannot prevent the first, but you can master the second. The Stoic method for emotional protection isn't armor in the cold, defensive sense. It is clarity. It is the quiet, absolute knowledge of who you are and what carries weight and what does not. Marcus Aurelius was betrayed by generals, criticized by senators, and surrounded by people who underestimated his entire life. He was not untouched. He was unbroken. And his private journals, never written for anyone's eyes but his own, show a man who processed every blow with systematic, practiced wisdom and kept moving forward. That is available to you. Starting today, subscribe to Dark Wisdom. The next video goes deeper into the psychological and Stoic tools they never put in a classroom. Stay sharp.